you better not cry over that. Suck it up, walk it off.
Right.
For a lot of men, you don't see men shedding tears on a consistent basis.
I like how you said about being emotionally available at the time of need.
In the beginning, the same when you're asking, like, what do you like to do for fun? What's your Instagram handle? As you progress, you talk about, but you know what I'm saying? You talk about these things.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? I am Omega, and this is Diverse Clarity. This is where we have those thought-provoking conversations about things that matter and some that don't. And today, I'm back. It's season 2, and I'm with my co-hosts, Mr. Kingsley and Mr. Mel. What's good, fellas?
What's good, y'all?
What up, dog?
How y'all doing?
Good, man.
All
Good.
Y'all ready? Yo,
ready as always.
Yo, we picking up. Actually, wait, hold on. Let me do it. Let me give a shout out to our brethren. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up? I am Omega, and this is Diverse Clarity. This is where we have those thought-provoking conversations about things that matter and some that don't. And of course, as always, I'm here with my man, my co-host, Mr. John D.
What up,
What's good?
What up, dog? Y'all hate on
We
the
miss you,
D.
JD, man.
Right.
Yo, what's good,
talk,
man? How was you? Yo, man, we miss you, Jay. We miss you. You know what I'm saying?
If I wasn't so relaxed, I'd do the cross leg and everything and just, but I'm too relaxed.
What
right
up,
now.
dog?
Right. What up, dog?
And then he does that, the infamous boom. Gotta put it in. Yo, shout out to John D, man. Shout out, man.
brother. Shout out.
for real.
So,
man.
And make sure those of y'all that follow Diverse Clarity and everything that we do, that you catch John D. He and his wife, Kanika, they have started a podcast, and it is called Doing Too Much. He always calls his wife Do, if I'm not mistaken, something related to like the honey-do list or something like that. Am I right? It's something like that,
something
right?
like that,
But he
yeah.
always calls his wife Do. And of course, y'all know his tagline on social media is too much with the number 2, WO, much, too much me. So they call the podcast Do In, as in
much.
and in. Too much. That's
pretty
so
clever.
make sure, So please make sure y'all
Play on
check it out.
words.
Support my man. Part of the Diverse Clarity Miancore family. Can't wait to have him back up here in the studio when he comes out next year for his visit. Have all 4 of us together. You know it's gonna be live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So shout out to him. Make sure you check him out. But for right now, we're in season 2. It's episode 2. And we're gonna go ahead and get this thing kicked off. And it's funny because the brothers here, they're always like, why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about? I want to know what we're going to talk about. Especially this one to my immediate left. But I just want to prepare. I just want
to do some research.
I need to prepare. And I don't even prepare. You know what I'm saying? I sit and I put lists together, and I try to figure out a way that we're going to bring it in. And it's the same thing. But I will tell you now, since you want to know what we're going to talk about. And
Small window to prepare, but okay, go ahead.
So
Very small.
Very, very tight.
So check it out, y'all. Listen, in this episode, we're going to be talking about men that are not emotionally available. All right. So I wanted to dive into that because I think that regardless of the type of relationship, all relationships there are, men who are not emotionally available, right? I think it can be a piece that gets in the way of a relationship progressing. It can get in the way of a relationship actually lasting, and it can cause all sorts of issues that lead to one of those outcomes, right?
Right.
So what does that mean to the both of y'all? Being emotionally available, or go the other way, somebody who's not emotionally available. What does that mean to y'all?
To me, it means just wearing your heart on your sleeve and just being vulnerable and being open with your significant other. Like, this is how this makes me feel. This is how, just being open. Because, I mean, that's the stigma with a lot of brothers now. We're not open. We're not this. We're not vocal. We're not vulnerable. We're not this. We're not that. And I think being emotionally available is just that, being open, meeting your significant other on her emotional needs, and you being, you expressing your emotional needs as well. That's what it means to me.
What about when we're not showing that they're available? Like if they're being too cool, or they're acting like they're above being emotionally available. Like, I mean, what do you think that comes from?
I mean, you got to define what emotions are. You know what I'm saying? And I think the term comes from women wanting men to be a certain type, want to show a certain type of emotion. You know what I'm saying? And so if, a lot of women say, well, it's okay to cry. Men never said it wasn't. We just don't cry for everything, or we just don't cry for certain things. You know what I'm saying? Certain things doesn't require tears. You know what I'm saying? Somebody die, yeah, I'll drop a couple of tears. You know what I'm saying? But just because we going through hardship, I ain't crying over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
but that might actually be what they're talking about, because from just what you said there, right? It makes it sound like there's this stigma on shedding tears.
Right.
Where we've now gone through and we've said, all right, look, if I lose 2 of my friends, I might shed a few tears. But my son falls off his bike, scrapes up his knee, and he's crying about it all night. I'm not crying for nothing. That might actually make you feel some kind of way. I'm not saying that somebody needs to cry for that.
Right.
But what I mean is, when we go and we put these stipulations on emotions, you're already blocking the opportunity for it to exist, and we're making this standard that.
But I don't think it's a stipulations. I think it just.
Well, you just said it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, for me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not a stipulation. That's just who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I show emotions in a certain way.
But where did that come from, though? Where do you think that it came from? That's something that told you who you are and how you are. I'll cry if I lose someone, but I won't cry if this happens.
Well, you gain emotions through just living and through life and through how you were taught. You're not taught as a boy to cry. You know what I'm saying? You're taught as a boy to suck it up, to walk it off. You know what I'm saying?
What does that mean, though, not taught?
Like,
Because
what I'm saying is, like,
somebody sat you down and said, listen, don't cry when this happens.
Yes.
That's not the only way. Both of y'all are educators. That's not the only way.
But
I grew up without a father.
Right.
I got 4 aunties and a lot of cousins. A lot of them are female cousins.
Right.
I've seen people cry. That's being taught as well.
Yeah, but
because if I see female cousins cry, I'm like, oh,
it's okay to cry.
right.
Yeah.
That's being taught as well, right? You don't have to have somebody sit you down and give you these stipulations, these parameters on tears.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, you're taught in so many different ways not to cry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you better not cry over that. Suck it up, walk it off.
Right.
Boys don't cry over that. You know what I'm saying? Or you never see a male in your presence or in your family crying unless it's a funeral. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not. What I'm saying is that's maybe not for you and not maybe from some other people, but for a lot of men, you don't see men shedding tears on a consistent basis. You see them shedding tears for certain things. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I didn't see my dad cry until his parents passed away. You know what I'm saying? And so that was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And so when my wife and my kids, they always look at me like, well, you don't cry. You know what I'm saying? And the only time that I did, they actually saw me crying was actually 2020. I caught COVID and I'm on the phone with my dad, and my dad was like,
hand me my mouth.
I told whatever, don't play with me. And so like, so there you go, shots fired. You know what I'm saying? You can't win with them, you can't win without them.
I thought I knew everything. Hand me my mouth.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I was talking to my dad, and I told him like I was cool. And I was like, hey, Dad, you know, I just let you know I got COVID. And he was like, oh, man. And so that made me, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It hit me like, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my dad was worried, you know what I'm saying? And so I dropped 2 tears. And so my wife was like, damn, I've been with you all this time. This is the only time you gonna cry. Wow. You know what I'm saying? But it hit me because that was like my dad, and he got worried. And I, you know what I'm saying? I look at him and his strength, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't crying on the phone, but it was just like like that, you felt the worried in his voice, like my son is sick. You know what I'm saying? My boy was sick, and so I knew I was going to be all right, and I knew it wasn't like I didn't have really like real bad symptoms, and so it was kind of like I'm gonna be all right. Like, don't worry. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the first time my wife and my oldest saw me cry. My oldest was like, "Dad, is you crying?"
But this
as
is
soon as you
Emotion
said it,
doesn't necessarily have to mean tears, right?
that's what I was about
Right,
to
but
say.
what
that's what I was gonna say. I think is and I know John D would always use his word. That's a part of the programming.
Yeah.
Right? Because you immediately jump to that.
Right.
You immediately jump to tears. And that was the very first thing that I said. I'm pretty sure we can roll the tape back. And I said somebody that think that they're above it all.
Right.
Right? When it comes to this the emotional vulnerabilities. Honestly, I just think it being emotionally available, or if you're emotionally unavailable, I think it deals with a lack of vulnerability. Now, the reason
a lack of vulnerability. Do you think is there really a lack of vulnerability?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I do, because
I think so too.
now whatever the reason is, you've been taught this way. You never saw that. You were told that that's not how it's supposed to be. You saw a movie and it stuck. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not being vulnerable. If you're in a relationship with somebody, right, and you get into a disagreement, you get into an argument, if you don't want to speak because of that disagreement, right, you're hurting the person that you're with. If they're trying to reconcile with you, if they're trying to make things better, this is a form of not being emotionally available.
Is it really?
Yes, most definitely.
But what if that's how they handle it?
Just because that's how they handle it doesn't mean that it doesn't fit the definition of one of the many characteristics of being emotionally unavailable.
And so what is emotions? What is showing emotions? Maybe that's we don't know.
But it's not, okay. So that's the other thing. It's not necessarily about just having emotions, even though that's the word that's given to the subject, right? And not saying the subject of the podcast, but when people talk about being emotionally unavailable, it's about how you carry yourself, whether you're in a relationship or not, right? Before we've been talking since, I don't know, we've been in here about at least 3 hours, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There was a point in that conversation where I looked at you two brothers and I let you know that I appreciate you.
Right.
I love the fact that you're here. I'm glad that you're here, and I see great things coming with all of us working together.
Right.
That's emotional availability.
Yeah, I agree.
So some just people expressing your feelings.
Expressing your feelings, expressing your thoughts. Sometimes exactly it comes in tears. Sometimes it comes in closeness. Anger, sometimes it comes in hugs. Every time we see one another, what we do.
Sometimes it comes in vulnerability as well.
You know what I'm saying? There are some people who they don't even want to touch someone. They don't want to shake their hand. They don't want to give them dap. They don't want to whatever. They're just.
So don't we all have some type of emotional unavailable motion?
Yeah.
I mean, of course we do. Right. But just because we may have some doesn't mean that we don't compensate for it elsewhere.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I might not, for example, be a person that likes to touch.
Right.
So I don't want to give you a hug. I don't want to give you dap. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Right.
But I might speak to you in a way where you understand how much I appreciate you.
Right. So let's go back to like we were saying earlier, like, you know what I'm saying? Just because I think a lot of people take emotional unavailable as a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? The way they have to express emotions or way they feel like emotions should be expressed. But the way you express your emotions may not be the same, and it shouldn't be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I tell you, hey, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's expressing my feelings. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go into detail. Like, if somebody, like, if I show appreciation, I'll be like, man, y'all my bros. Boom. That means a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how's that emotionally unavailable.
I got you.
That makes sense.
I got you. So what you're talking about, and you're 100% right. Because there are various things that we can talk about when it comes to being emotionally unavailable. Right. And you're right. It may be, if there's 20 things on this list, 5 of them might be some that I don't touch. And if the person is expecting me to do one of those 5, that person could say, Omega is not emotionally available. I can't be with him, or I can't be friends with him, or whatever. But the deal is, it's my responsibility, right? For example, self-esteem. It's called self-esteem. It's on me. The onus is on me, right? To have, to curate, to protect, to push out because of my self-esteem. When we're talking about what you're talking about, that's more like emotional intelligence. Because if you know that you can't communicate in that way, like giving complimentary words or giving a hug, or if you know that you can't, for some reason you can't cry regardless of the situation. You need to have the emotional intelligence to be able to express it in another way. It doesn't fall on the other people that are around you to know how are they going to know what it's going to be? If some people laugh at funerals.
Our family do.
But you see what I'm saying? Some people laugh at funerals. But you, as the individual that might laugh at a funeral, should have the emotional intelligence to know that that's how you, not necessarily that not to, because they can't really help it, right?
But like we do it as we get together and we joke around.
No. I don't mean like that. I mean
in the middle of the service.
I mean like a tragic situation. Some people don't know how. Some people don't know how to internalize that. Right. So like they say, oh, this person, passed away, and they're like, oh, for real? He dead? Dang. I think people. But people are like, that's not how you react when you learn that someone passed. That's not what you do.
It's almost like the read the room type of comment. Like read the room.
But
like everyone is.
But the thing is, people have these nervous energies. They have these nervous tics. They don't know what to do. Like it comes out. I look at myself as a very professional person when it comes to when I need to be, right? And sometimes when I don't need to be. Okay, it can come to a fault. I remember, and I won't give too much detail because people watch, but there was someone that let's just say we were in the same company. And I had a conversation with this person, and this person had a huge misunderstanding when it came to me and what my intent was in this conversation. And they said something, and what they said, they were like, well, why didn't you tell me this? I said, well, I did tell you. Remember, I was there, and then it was this person that was there, and then you walked in, and then this was said, and you were like, oh, to me, you said, oh, well, you've done all you can do. Right? So when the person said to me, why didn't you tell me this before? When I looked at them, it was an involuntary reaction. But when I looked at them, I was like, I did tell you. And the person looked at me and said, don't you laugh at me. Whoa. I wasn't laughing at you. But you see what I'm saying? I wasn't but I had the emotional intelligence to be able to say, no, listen, I wasn't laughing at you. That was just me. That was a response. I wasn't expecting you to say that because I thought we were both there when I did tell you. And the fact that you're telling me I should have told you, I'm thinking like, I don't know where that's coming from. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, it's the same way when it comes to people that are maybe laughing at a funeral or laughing when someone dies. They're not trying to laugh, but that's just the response that came out of them.
But is that, I don't know. I kind of felt like,
it's a different form of emotional intelligence.
No. What? No.
It almost seems like, like what people say, well, common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people common sense is not so common. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying like that in those situations, but I'm saying like if we just strictly stick into emotional available, if I'm emotional available means that I'm able to communicate to you how I feel, what I want, what I need, don't like, what I don't like. Is that emotional intelligence? Like, what is
emotional intelligence?
You got to define.
It's funny this topic just came up because I've been dealing with it for the last couple of months. I feel emotional intelligence and emotional availability are two different things.
They are.
You're right. So, right. Wait, okay. hang on. They are two different things. The only reason I brought up emotional intelligence is because when you were describing something, right? I was like, oh no, that's not about emotion. That is about, because you were saying, and that's the only reason why I brought it up. He was saying, how did it go? Someone may not communicate that way on that particular thing
in detail,
but but that doesn't make them emotionally unavailable. And I'm saying you're right. I said, but they need to have the emotional intelligence to know that, so that they can effectively communicate to whoever it is that they need to.
So is this the person receiving it or the person giving?
Okay, like this. Let's say my girlfriend loves to be hugged when she says she has a bad day, right? But I don't like to hug, okay? I need to have the emotional intelligence because I love her. I should be there for her. I want to be there for her. I should have the emotional intelligence enough to know, all right, I know I don't like to do hugs and stuff, but let me do something else to show her that I'm there for her in this time of need. You see what I'm saying? So when you had mentioned about people doing one but not the other, there's so many different types, and you're right. I'm like, yeah, but they still need to have the emotional intelligence enough to know what other avenue they can take to prove and show that they are emotionally available in a time of need. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do.
I like how you said about being emotionally available at the time of need. I think that's like the key thing that a lot of people kind of look at and kind of, that's like the litmus test to see if you are emotionally available. You know, like, hey, like if something happens right now, will this brother, will this sister be here for me right now? I think that's what it is. At that time of need, will this person be here when I need them, him or her, the most?
Right.
And I think that's the litmus test to seeing if someone is emotionally available. I don't know if that's what you were kind of leaning towards,
that's a part of it.
I mean, okay, so when do someone, okay, so you're in a relationship. And so if you, any relationship, whether it be a friend or, you know, a loved one or a lover, whatever, when do this is who that person is and this is how they express themselves kick in? You know what I'm saying? Like, I may not be like, so like somebody need a hug. I'm not a hugger. However, I cook you dinner. You know, that's, you know what I'm saying? This is how I express, you know what I'm saying, being there for you. You normally cook, you're tired, I'm gonna cook dinner. You know what I'm saying? Or I run your bath water. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it would be up to the person.
Is that still emotional available, or is that emotional unavailable?
Well, what do you think needs to be done in order for the other person to understand? You have to communicate this. And when you communicate that, that's you expressing or showing your emotional intelligence.
Is that emotional or is that just love?
But okay, when the word emotional is used, when they talk about this, it's not necessarily about like emotions, right? Like in a way of like crying and not crying and whatever. It's more about the behavior of the person when it comes to how they feel and how they think. Like it could even branch to
do that again.
Emotions.
I just remember my mom wanting to chase like a chair, and she always be like, chase. Like, so when you said it once, I just thought about my mom. I was like, you know, she was like, I'm gonna give me a chase. I said, what? She's like, a chase.
Okay. How about this? Right? Then it could be going away from that, like still in it, but it could be something where your partner says that they want something from you sexually.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you fidgeting, you don't know how to talk about it, you don't know what to say, and you like, well, ain't what I'm doing enough? Or you don't want to talk about it at all, right? Like that is another form of not being emotionally available.
Well, we all emotionally unavailable. If that's the case.
There's moments where we do struggle with it, but then I think
we have to compensate though. That's the key. You communicate and you compensate.
But I think that's what he was saying. Like, it's like, okay, if I can't give you a hug, I can run your bath water. I can.
No, but ask the question that you asked though.
I don't remember. I asked a lot of questions.
Oh Lord.
Seriously, I think what he was trying to say was, if I'm not a hugger,
right,
I can channel that emotional availability to something else. Like, I can make you dinner. You know, you got some bad news.
Okay.
I can't sit on the couch and talk it out with you, but I'm going to get in that kitchen. I'm going to cook you a hell of a meal, and I'm just going to feed you and support you and listen to you
and be there and just be in your presence.
But I think in that situation, I think it really plays on the other person too, to understand that, okay, this brother's channeling it to something else.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Because we're not mind readers. That's why I say you have to communicate. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You should communicate. Look, if your woman is having a bad day and she just wants to be hugged, but you're not a hugger, you should be communicating to her to let her know. This way she can interpret what it is you're doing. Because
she already know I'm not a hugger.
Okay, but we don't know that. I'm just saying, because when you said it, I'm like, well, how? Because you said, how are they supposed to know? Right. Based off that's why I say, what question did you ask?
Yeah.
So like based off that, like I wouldn't know that. And that's why my response was they have to communicate.
Right.
You have to communicate to the person, listen, I don't like hugging, but I'm about to go in here and I'm gonna cook you this meal and you're gonna be smiling in a minute.
So that goes back to what I was saying.
You don't want to say that in the midst of her or him saying it like
I'm not saying
that's what I was saying. Like, when do it kick in that, like, what part or what level in a relationship does it kick in where people know that's just who they are?
Okay.
I believe it should already be known.
Right. Okay. That is also a part of being emotionally available, because a lot of times when people don't talk about their feelings, then they're not being emotionally available. Those are things that people usually talk about in a relationship in the beginning. The same when you're asking, like, what do you like to do for fun? What's your Instagram handle? As you progress, you talk about, but you know what I'm saying? You talk about these things.
All these incoherent ad-libs.
You know I like the hug.
But some people look at that as not being emotionally available. Like, you can't even be coherent in your thoughts and your actions and your words. And I think
it's
but if you're communicating it, that's what I'm saying. So you said when, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not in that relationship. Right. I'm in my relationship.
So where did the word emotional unavailable come? Like, I feel like emotional unavailable means that I am unable to express any kind of emotions or unable to communicate feelings or something of that nature. But if I am able to express emotions and communicate, that means I am emotional available. It may not be the availability that you want, but it doesn't mean that I'm not emotionally unavailable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so if you like for me to hold your hand in the mall, and I hate holding hands, you would call me emotionally unavailable because I don't hold your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a form and you know how they perceive emotion.
And you know what that is?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's communication and compromise.
Right.
Everybody here know what the 5 love languages are?
Yes.
Okay, so we're familiar with this, right?
How somebody needs to be loved.
Right. So if you communicating, right, these are things that you talk about. When it's going to happen, I don't know, because I'm not in their relationship, like I said. But just like the love languages, if somebody loves acts of service, but that's not your way, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If it's usually what's going to happen is when it's important enough for a person, that's when they're going to talk about it with the other person that they're with. You know what I mean?
Situations.
So if I know that I'm going to move in with my significant other, right? And I know that I want to be held at night, or I love holding my significant other at night. And then she says, well, I don't really like to be held. It gets hot. I don't, or whatever. Like, we can start out like that, but then when we break apart, let's just break apart. And then I'll see you in the morning. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can say that, but at least you've communicated it and you understand, because what will happen is a huge misunderstanding. The person will get into the bed with the other person. They will try to snuggle and cuddle and whatever. The other person will break away from them sometime in the middle of the night.
Right.
And the person that wanted to do the holding is like, she don't like me. She didn't want to, because they don't know what that is.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, like, usually when it's important, that's when they're going to communicate. So it all depends on you and your level of importance and how you rank all of this stuff.
Right.
Whether you're talking about your emotions and how you feel and what you need in the relationship and your love languages or whatever it is, when it's important to you, that's when you're going to talk about it. And that's usually with everything in a relationship.
But is the love language is the same as the emotions?
How you handle the love languages is yes. Because if you know that your partner wants what's the one for words?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Yeah.
If you know that your partner wants words of affirmation, you've got a couple of options.
Right.
You can succumb to that and make sure that you give those words of affirmation.
Right. What you were saying?
I don't think
Kingsley?
they're tied in. I don't think it's tied in.
Okay,
How you
why not?
handle it is, but go ahead.
I don't know. I just feel like the love language and emotional availability are two different things.
They are two different things.
So I don't see how they tie in, because when I think of emotions, I think about eternal motions, movement. How does it move me eternally that you're going through some shit, that you're facing a challenge? How do I move eternally to that?
Right.
Versus, oh, I know you like words of affirmation. I'm
gonna give you some words.
Leave a note every morning that you're wonderful and you're beautiful and whatever.
That's not emotional.
Yeah, that's not emotional. That's just
right. But hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they're the same thing. They
Okay.
are completely different. What I'm saying is how you address those is the same. That falls in line with having the emotional intelligence, understanding what the person needs, right? And then that becomes into being emotionally available or unavailable, if that's the case. Because being also talking about emotional availability is also talking about intimacy.
See, the problem I was faced with just now was I'm thinking emotion is something bad. Like I have to display an emotion because of a bad situation. But you're saying like it don't even have to be a bad situation.
And I said that. I said that.
Got you.
It's about everything. That's why I was like, when we hear the word emotion,
we think
about the crying.
Yeah.
We think about the
wow.
You all right, baby? But that's the thing. So it's about everything.
Because there's been situations where I've gotten out of a relationship, and we just had this discussion. I've gotten out of a relationship and I'm out there trying to move forward. And a woman would be like, you just got out of a relationship. You're not even emotionally available. And I'm just like, what?
Because she's saying like the overall piece.
Yeah.
If your girlfriend if your girlfriend said, so, and when are we going to do this marriage thing? And you're like, what marriage thing? What are you talking about? What's for dinner? She will consider you being emotionally unavailable.
But that's
perspective.
That can go to emotional unintelligence. Now she's emotionally bringing something to me, marriage.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what's for dinner? Like, it's not like I'm sitting down like, damn, okay, let's have this conversation.
No. It's a purpose. It's a purposeful ignoring the conversation.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And so for that, if somebody's talking about the future, it doesn't have to be marriage. If somebody's talking about the future, right? And you're not there, you're not able to have that conversation, you're not able to contribute to it. I mean, it could be a lack of maturity that could be a part of that as well. You know what I'm saying? But for the person that's trying to get you to interact with them, they can view you as emotionally unavailable because that's something that they want and they need in that relationship with you. Do you get what I mean? It's a part of it. The same reason why you say women would have said, oh, you're not even emotionally available, because they're thinking you just left somebody. You ain't even trying to think about being with nobody else. And if you are, you probably not 100% there. I'm not about to waste my time with you, boy. Bye. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So what you gonna say?
No, but I don't know. I think, I don't know, man. Maybe because I'm emotional unavailable.
I'll edit that out.
No, but I'm just thinking like it's go back to perspective though. You know what I'm saying? Like it depends on the person that's receiving the emotion, because I can be emotional available to someone who understands the way I give emotions. You know what I'm saying? So like two non-talkers and be like, yeah, I feel you. That's you know what I'm saying? Like our emotions.
How is that person going to understand how you give? How are they going to understand?
But I'm saying
it's only two ways.
Yeah.
How are they going to understand?
What is it? Either you say it or what is it?
It's just nonverbal
communication. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. They either going to experience it, or you're going to communicate it. You see what I'm saying? But but that's why I said in the beginning is we're not mind readers. So you're not going to know it off the bat. So if, like you said about the thing about the hugging, right? If the person doesn't hug because they don't like to hug, but they cook you a dinner, and then she sees him cooking the dinner, she's like, "What the hell are you doing? I'm not even hungry. I want to hug." But in his mind, he's thinking, but I'm cooking because I'm gonna make you feel better. Well, you never communicated that to her.
Right.
And what she showed you was like, if she's standing there and she's like, oh, my day was awful at work. All I need is you. And when she opened up her eyes, you're in the kitchen. And she's like, I'm not even hungry. I don't want to eat. I don't have an appetite.
Yeah, that's a good
but
point.
he's thinking, oh, I'm going to whip up these chicken and waffles and you're going to feel better.
That goes to
so you got to communicate it or you have to experience it.
That goes to a lack of emotional intelligence.
Exactly my point.
But that goes to what he was saying earlier. Is that the same thing as being emotional unavailable, or do they tie in?
No. He's saying exactly what I said. Emotional intelligence, because that means, okay, same situation, right? That means I know I don't want to hug, but I know I'm going to go in here and cook this bomb ass meal, right? But I need to have the emotional intelligence to tell her, all right, babe, listen, I got something for you. Right. I'm going to make this better. Let me go in here. You go shower. I'm going to run a bath. I'm going to cook this meal for you. When you come out, we're going to fill that belly up. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, so it's almost like, okay.
Cause she might think you don't care.
Right.
If she come home and she crying, you get what I'm saying? And you just go in the kitchen and start cooking, she gonna be like, babe. And then she gonna start texting her friends. Girl, he don't even care. He ain't there cooking sausages. I don't know what this motherfucker is.
Now you're bringing up a very important point in the whole discussion, which is when you have an outlet, right? You plug up a TV, you plug in the TV into the plug. There's something else that got to come out of that plug as well. And I think we're talking about this, as we're sitting here talking about this, we're talking about the output, but what about the input? As far as like the woman or the male on whichever side is receiving it, seeing it as, okay, you know what? He's cooking this meal for me. Let me just take it versus, man, he don't even care.
Right. But that's what I was saying. Like, if I am someone who understands that's person expressing their emotions without even, without them having to communicate, I will automatically think like that's emotional. That person cares. He has emotions, because that's how I perceive it. You know what I'm saying? But if I perceive that a hug means to me you're emotional available, then in my mind, I will say he's emotionally unavailable. You see what I'm saying? And I understand what you're saying. You got to communicate. But what I'm saying is, emotional unavailability, that word comes from someone not receiving the emotions that they want. So it's not, that doesn't mean someone is emotionally unavailable. They just didn't receive the emotions that they felt that they needed.
And we're not saying that they are.
Right.
I'm saying that they just need to communicate that. You need to be consciously aware. You need to be emotionally intelligent enough to be able to communicate that so the other person understands. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
that goes both ways.
Of course.
Yeah, but it was always singular.
No, but I said that though. I said the guy is there and he's like, all right, well, babe, listen, you go take a bath.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna go in here and cook this meal. We're gonna make this better. We're gonna fill that tummy up.
Right.
And everything's
But
gonna
she
be
may not
right.
want that.
She may not want that.
But she never communicated to her.
Right. But at least he's saying something good. Right? Exactly. Right. But at least he's saying something. Now she has the opportunity to communicate back to him.
Be like, nah,
babe,
I want that.
I'm not hungry. You know I don't like baths. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we just sit on the couch and you just hold me? And if he don't like doing holding, he might be like, okay.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. They negotiate.
Like me. Like I like my wife would say I'm emotionally unavailable because I don't like feet. You know what I'm saying? She'd be like, she come home from work, she want her feet rubbed. Well, I'll go get something to wash your feet, and then I rub her feet. Man. Or she'd be like, nah. I'm like, well, give me them gloves. I hit them things up. And so, But that's how it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've grown in that. Like, I'll do it now, and I just wash my hands afterward. But you know what I'm saying? I just play. Like, I've gotten better. Man. But that's that. You know what I'm saying? But she would be like, well, he emotionally unavailable. Well, in that situation, yeah. But in other situations, I wouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I had to grow. I mean, like you were saying, the 5 love languages, I've learned and I've grown and I've, you know what I'm saying, I'll do it now. But in the beginning, I wouldn't, Okay. That's not my thing.
Well, they also say that when a person doesn't reflect on themselves or they're not self-aware, that also is another characteristic of being emotionally unavailable.
But
what you say, what you say about that one?
I think it's just
You know, everything emotional.
I think it just
Right,
goes
but
back to
that's the point, that it's not just about emotions and crying
Yeah.
and tears
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
right?
I agree.
That
Go
it's,
ahead,
it's not
Timmy.
just about
it's about
that.
knowing your audience. You know, like
No. This is about you.
About
They're
me.
saying that you don't reflect. You are not self-aware about yourself. This can be a characteristic of somebody that is emotionally unavailable.
But is that true? You know what I'm saying?
I'm asking the panel.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But is that? Go ahead. What you about to say, man?
I think yes. Go ahead. I think yes.
I think again we're going back to first and foremost, what is emotion? Eternally movement. Like how
Not
is
in
it
this,
eternal? Not in this situation.
Not in this case.
Okay.
No, you're talking about emotions as in someone is emotional.
No.
Right? Just because we all know that when we look up words, there's a whole lot of definitions there that go down the list, right? You're thinking about someone being emotional. That's that piece. That is that definition, right?
Okay.
There's also what's the term called? Like for example, empathetic.
Yeah, showing empathy
Right. But that's not the only thing that it means.
because it's not
right?
the same as sympathy.
You could be
Yeah.
you could be empathic, empath,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is a whole nother level,
Yeah.
but it's a cousin to empathy, right? So when we're talking about emotion, like that word being used there, maybe it's bad. I don't know, but it's not my word. But that word being used there, it can confuse people. But emotionally available or unavailable is not just about tears and hugs and stuff.
Right.
That's not it. So, but
you're saying it's more so about communicating.
It's
who you are.
It's about who you are too. Because so when they say someone doesn't self-reflect, right? Or they're not self-aware.
Is that part of emotions?
I say it is. Why? Because this is you looking at how you are.
Yeah.
If you've been in a lot of relationships and those relationships end, and let's just say, for example, those women said, because I just want to know why, because you're not emotionally available. You're not, whatever. So that person should then be thinking about everything that they've done in those relationships that looks the same, which led to the same result of him or her being single again.
Right.
If we're not doing self-reflecting,
Introspection.
right, and constantly trying to improve on ourselves and how we are and how we handle people, that will then affect us down the road when it comes to being emotionally available.
I think we can coin a new term. I don't know if it exists, but like emotionally self-aware. Like just being at a point where, like you're saying, just reflecting and just being like, damn, I was really wrong for that.
Man, is all that emotions though?
Yeah.
It is.
I know I'm emotional.
It is.
That's a
Because
lot
it
to tie into that one
eternally,
word.
It moves you. You're moved by your action. You're moved by something you did. Like you do the introspection. You're like, damn, man, look how I treated her. Look how I treated this person. Damn, that's fucked up. Like I need to do better. I need to be better. And I think that's still a sign of emotion.
Even this.
I would just say that's heartless, but go ahead.
But even being in a relationship with somebody and that person isn't, that you let that person do all the work. That's another form of being emotionally unavailable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay,
my definition of emotion is different.
How about that? I mean, because the definition of the word emotion, agreed. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But in this regard, no, it's talking about a plethora of things, right?
But
so emotionally unavailable, let's say you're about to get married, right? And your wife is planning the wedding. She's making the guest list. She's picking out all the colors. She's picking out the flowers. She's picking the venue. She's picking the honeymoon. She's inviting all the people. She's telling them what's going to be on the menu thing. She's dividing the guest list.
Right.
And you playing PlayStation 5.
Okay.
You're emotionally unavailable.
Oh yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I'm just unavailable.
That's a good point. You're just not available at all. Like, that's a good point.
I'm not present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with emotions. I'm just not present.
But
you know what I'm saying?
I think. I mean, I don't know because I didn't coin the term or the
yeah,
phrase.
But I
think
don't know,
it's
man.
more.
Like I just kind of feel like we place. Like, where did this come from? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, emotionally unavailable. Like, is this a term that came from men or was it came from
listen,
women?
I can tell you. I can tell you where it possibly. I can tell you where it possibly came from.
Yeah.
Someone wrote a book about relationships and coined the term, and no one else had ever heard the term before. And that's where that term kind of birthed from. I can tell you that much because it's just like someone
But do
just sat there
men use
just,
that? But like, have you ever told a woman you're emotionally unavailable?
Nah,
Like,
women
use it.
Women will say that.
Yeah,
Women
but
will
that's
say
what I'm
that.
saying. Is it?
women
This is from my
yeah.
mind. This is my mind. Like, if a woman told me I'm emotionally unavailable, it's because I didn't give the emotions that they wanted.
I think
you know
that's
what I'm saying.
the
That doesn't
nutshell.
mean I'm not unavailable.
That is the
Or
nutshell.
the emotion or the reaction or the thoughtful conversation or the reaction
Yeah.
or there's a lot of things.
But you also got to think about like how we were created. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
that's a whole nother.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't go in there. Okay, so if I want electric seats and I get a seat that you got to do manually, I'm not gonna be like, well, you electrically unavailable. Like,
okay, you said electric. You're stupid.
That was a good as a sample though.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not made for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm only made for certain things. And so I feel like we are made to communicate logically about, you know what I'm saying, what's happening, logically on what we feel, logically on how to express ourselves, but we don't necessarily have to be in this space where we got to be 100% involved in every single thing.
Nobody's
logic,
saying that.
You said logic, but I just wanted to share this point. We're dealing with a whole lot of irrational people. So let me just say that.
It won't necessarily be irrational people. However, it could be people in situations that may bring about irrational or erratic emotions, which can cause their viewpoint on whatever's happening to be slightly skewed. I think that's a very politically correct way to say it. Thank you. I will take my Bitcoins now. Like, yo.
Oh, man.
So, but like, okay, I give you an example, right?
Yeah.
Like, my girl has said, I can say this because like when this airs, like it'll already have passed, so I'm not spoiling a surprise or anything like that, right? Let me make sure. Okay, so she said to me a little while ago, she was like, "Babe, let's why don't we get a Christmas tree in the apartment or whatever?" I'm like, huh? Why? Why we need a Christmas? We ain't got no space for a Christmas tree. Like, they're too big. It takes up too much. I don't want to. God. And I was making up all these excuses.
Right.
But in the one part, it could go over there and this and this. I was like, nah, that's not a good spot. That's not a good spot. It's not. Whatever.
Right.
So long story short, I kept being this way. Right. Like nah. I got a Christmas tree. She don't know it. You know what I'm saying? She'll see it or whatever soon enough. But just saying, so like, but if I would not have, and I dismissed what she was saying, truly, not just playing a game, as in dismissing what she's saying, right? She might have said, or in her mind may have thought, that I was emotionally unavailable. Why? Because I'm not even considering what she's saying.
I'm not considering her feelings.
I'm not considering her feelings.
And so,
you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
There was no tears involved. Nobody was upset. There
Right.
wasn't an argument that transpired after
Right.
or during, right? I was just acting like, I don't know. I mean,
What's up with you? What's up with you, man? Like, you don't want no words to it. Like, he just like it's right.
Incoherent ad-libs. I like it, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, is that just people compromising in relationships, or you accepting the person for who they are and meeting them where they at?
No,
I don't know. Like,
compromise would have been like if he doesn't celebrate having a tree and meeting her halfway.
He didn't want one.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because people could celebrate and just not want one. Period.
He just don't want one.
But
So
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you're right. The thing is, when we're talking about being emotionally available, right? It's us looking at whatever the situation is, right? And communicating our way through that situation. It can look completely different for everybody in the room. But that's all it is. And the communication could lead to compromise. The communication could lead to me changing my ways. Do you get what I'm saying? Or whatever. It could lead to me saying, I understand what a hug means to you now. I'm going to work on trying to give you more hugs.
That's it right there.
You know what I'm saying?
What is that?
That's it right there.
That's a love language. Y'all just said that's not the same as love language.
No, but it does. Okay, but it does tie in. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if a woman thinks that because, or let's just say, we're not gonna make it about women. If your partner thinks that because you don't want to hug them, that you're not emotionally available, okay, that has to do with closely related to a love language when it talks about physical touch. But that's not what it's about. Do you get what I'm saying? It's about that person not feeling loved or wanting to feel touched, physically touched, and you not wanting to do it or you not doing it, but then finding a way to either do it or substitute it with something else that partner is going to appreciate. You are now showing your emotional availability. You used your emotional intelligence and you've compromised your way through not getting in the argument and probably some booty that night. I'll take my Bitcoin now.
I don't know, man.
Nah, come on, man.
Nah, man.
Come on, man.
I can see how, yeah.
No,
I don't know.
What
man.
don't you know?
I don't like.
You the one that's not available at all.
I'm just unemotional. I'm just emotionally unavailable. But like, that's probably why I don't get it, because I literally, maybe I'm thinking them as separate entities. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What's a separate entities?
expressing love and emotions.
No, okay.
But I understand what you're saying.
Detroit boys, boy.
Yeah, you already know how we do. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if like I show you love based on what you need, that's showing love. When I think of emotions, I think of being able to show my feelings, identify the feelings that you have. I'm not just saying crying. I'm just saying feelings, like be able to tell you how something made me feel. I think it's just feelings. Like emotions are the same as feelings to
How
me.
it moved you, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How it
How it
moved me, but
touched
I
you.
don't see it as being something expressing love, because I think love is a foundation for emotion and compromise and all that. Like, love is the foundation for it, but I don't know if emotion itself alone is. I just think it's feelings. You know what I'm saying?
But
like,
because you're thinking about the word emotion and emotion only by itself.
yeah, but that's the
word that you're thinking of, then you're right.
right.
But that's not what the definition of being emotionally available or unavailable means.
right, but see, that's what I'm saying.
It can, like I said, it can deal with the love or the way the person is loved. It can deal with the way that you communicate. It can deal with you being argumentative and defensive. Yep. It can deal with you not wanting to talk about the future of the relationship. It can be with you not helping with the wedding plans that are going on. It can be with you not understanding what she needs in those 5 love languages, and if she only wants 3 of them. It can be any of those things.
Right.
She has to
I understand that.
But let's not look at the word emotion and only think about what the word emotion means. Because when it's emotionally unavailable, we're talking about something completely different than when we're saying.
Because those are two. All those things are different.
Okay, but
you know
if
what I'm saying?
it's-
Like,
if
if I
it's
compromise,
synonymous-
I'm a compromise. I don't need emotions to compromise.
But the thing
if
is,
I'm going to show you love, I'm going to show you love. I don't need emotions to show you love.
But when
Okay,
you compromise,
look.
you're meeting her, that emotional side of what she may want or what she's asking.
But
Things can be similar.
If my wife say, if your spouse, significant other say, I need a hug. Like you have people that's emotionally who's emotionally unavailable that gives hugs.
But see, what you're
you know what I'm
doing-
saying? Like, a hug doesn't necessarily mean it's an emotion. It's just
But that's what she wanted at the time.
But see, you getting caught up in the use of the word emotion, right?
Right.
And we all know that you can use the same words and you can separate those 2 words or put them together or reverse them.
Right.
And they can mean something completely different.
Right.
Right. But they can also be similar. For example, What's a forklift?
It's a
Something to
machine.
help lift up pallets.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I said lift your fork, you get what I'm saying?
All right.
So it's the same words. I reversed them. They're very similar in what they mean. Just
It's
because
not
they're
the same.
What do you mean?
Forklift and lift your fork. That's three different. That's 2 words and 3 words.
Okay, lift fork, but you get what I'm saying.
No, you can't say. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't say emotion elevate. Like
No, because you're just because fork and lift are one of my point
I
is
know
just
what you're
because
saying. I
fork
just being
and
in.
lift, I know, but just because fork and lift are being used, it don't mean that they mean exactly the same thing.
Right.
Just because emotion is being used in the phrase, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're only talking about emotions as we know them. We're talking about being emotionally available
Not necessarily.
or emotionally unavailable, and that is a wide spectrum of possibilities.
it's called a forklift because the front of it looks like a fork. You lifting something. So if you say lift your fork, it's the same thing. It's the same action. I'm lifting something with my fork.
So you have a machine, you have a small machine in your hand.
Some people will call a fork a machine if you talk to a scientist. Am I right?
Oh my God, bro.
I'm being honest. And so this is, and
But
so
you
when
get,
you say,
but
no,
you get what I'm saying, though. You
I
get,
get
you
what
get
you-
what
I
I'm
understand
saying.
what you're saying.
The use of similar words doesn't always mean. Maybe I should just look up what emotionally
I think you should,
available
because I really think emotion and unavailable, those are 2 different words. You put them together, that's how you got it. So
that's not the route we
emotion and unavailable. Unavailable means that I'm unable to be present, right? So unable to be present emotionally. How can somebody be emotionally
I see what you're saying.
not present emotionally? You,
You
know what I'm
don't
saying?
see nothing.
He
Stop.
does see it. You're a hater. Hey,
see it.
hey, as I sip my drink, I'm surely somebody spit in. Hey. You see what I'm saying? So I really think we trying to people put all this into these 2 words,
Okay.
and you need to separate. Go ahead. Watch all this extra stuff that goes with it.
So when we're talking about emotional availability, it describes the ability to sustain emotional bonds in relationships. So the ability to sustain emotional bonds. That's not just about crying and not crying.
Right?
It's sustaining it's sustaining bonds
Like, yes.
in the relationship. Those bonds could be spending time together. Those bonds could be communication. Those bonds could be going on vacation. Those bonds could be watching the show that she wants to watch instead of what you want to watch. It could be eating what she wants to eat instead of what you want to eat. It can be about the love languages. It can be about so many
So
things.
sustaining the
It's
emotional
not
bond.
it's not just the word emotion, because the word emotion is in there, but it's giving a range of understanding to how the person is and how they're interpreting situations and where their feelings are coming from towards the person that they're in a relationship with. And that doesn't even have to be a relationship of a romantic side.
Right.
It can be us
It's
here.
friendship, yeah.
It's us here. Me having an emotional yesterday, and we'll leave it at that. You telling me I wasn't emotionally available? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was being emotionally available for a friend.
Right.
Had nothing to do with a kiss, a hug, or a damn tear.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about.
I think we associate it though with relationships though. I think that's the key thing is
Okay,
It
and
is
that's
a relationship.
and that's another thing.
Romantic
When
relationship.
People,
Yeah, thank you.
But when
It's-
people talk about relationships, they tend to only think about a romantic one.
Right.
But because people don't do that. I don't walk around saying I'm in a relationship with Kingsley, because they'll be like, "Oh, for real?" You get what I'm saying? We don't say that.
Right.
But we would say, like forklift, lift fork, we would say, I have a relationship with Kingsley.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I'm in a relationship with him.
Right.
Just because the same words are there don't mean they mean the exact same thing.
Right.
We all know English is the hardest language to understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So shout out to all y'all out there that speak multiple languages.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying, and English is one of them.
yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like,
Right.
definitely words don't mean the same thing. I mean, the words you can use the same words and they not mean the same thing.
Right.
However, it's other words that goes that's connected with it that makes it that gives it a different definition. And you know what I'm saying? And so,
and just for the record, the word emotional, of or relating to emotion. That's it. It's very simple,
right?
And it only sticks and talks to about
because nobody know what it is.
It's how you feel.
It's how you feel.
It's how you relate to how you feel.
Yeah,
right. But
being able to communicate how you feel.
But being emotionally available is so much more than that.
But how? This is what I'm saying. How can you, if you look up emotion and then you see this vague little definition, speck of a definition, and then you say I'm emotionally unavailable. You can't define emotions, but you can define emotionally unavailable. How? How's that possible?
Well, it also says dominated by or prone to emotion, appealing to or arousing emotion, markedly aroused or agitated in feeling or sensibilities.
What's that?
Emotional.
So,
right. So all of those
they define emotion with the same word.
All of those are very centric when it comes to emotion and how you feel and how you this and how you that. But emotional availability is a wide range. It goes beyond this. But they just use the word emotion in there. I don't know why.
Exactly.
I'm not
That's
Webster
what I'm saying.
or Merriam or any of them.
Whoever
So
came
I
up
don't
with the
know.
word, yeah.
I don't know.
So
but,
you can't. You got to define that emotion, and you have to define what it means to be unavailable for it. Quit
trying to use the word emotion. It's there, but you're trying to highlight the word emotion as it sits by itself, and it doesn't.
Right.
It's not even spelled the same. There's a ALLY at the end. You get what I'm saying? You don't is emotionally available, emotionally unavailable. It's not even spelled the same. It's a completely different word. It's a whole nother phrase. And as the words being put together, they mean something completely different. That is the one that goes more in depth. But it's still a wide range of what we're talking about.
You just only read a definition that said that they're something about the emotional bonds, right?
I mean, there was more to it.
Okay.
But that sentence alone tells you that. What is it they're going to take to sustain an emotional bond? There's so many things that could be. Right. And off the top of my head, I was rattling them out just after I read that.
Right.
That one sentence alone told me, to sustain emotional. So whatever it takes to keep this bond with my special someone, this is about my emotional availability. So whatever it takes. She want to take a cooking class together. Okay. You want to go do a wine tasting and paint on somebody's easel.
I just really think it's just
there's a lot to
somebody on one end wants their way and the other person don't want to give it to them. And so they just say, you're emotionally unavailable.
You mean?
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't give you your way, you throw a tantrum. So you didn't make this great.
Let's wrap this up, man.
No, but you know what I'm saying?
Let's
like, you just throwing a tantrum because I'm not giving you your way.
We have to, honestly,
this is why I'm emotionally unavailable.
honestly, with this topic, we have to dig deeper. When was the term coined first? And in what context was it termed in?
Okay, let me ask this. Like, are you emotionally unavailable?
No.
What makes you emotionally available?
I'm intuitive. I pay attention. I ask questions. I communicate. I want to make my woman happy. I want to make her feel good when she don't. And when she do, I want to make her feel better than that.
Okay. And you're just going to use emotionally available for all that.
Because it is a wide range of.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm there, and as I am present, my presence is there to stabilize and strengthen my woman's emotions.
Right. But see, so, I just, for me, I know I'm just playing when I say I'm emotionally unavailable.
I know.
Because I'm definitely emotionally available
to
my wife. And so I might have been emotionally unavailable.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm new. I'm the remix.
No, but I'm glad you said that, because when you said your wife, I automatically thought your kids as well.
My kids too.
Are you okay?
I have to be. You know what I'm saying? That's a good point. You gotta be. I think you as you know, I think, men, we're growing and we're more we're evolving. You know what I'm saying? I know we were having this conversation earlier about, you know what I'm saying, like evolving, and we are constantly evolving. Like, you know what I'm saying? What's the word you use? Something with the M?
Oh, mercurial.
Mercurial, yeah. And so constantly evolving. We're not staying the same. You know, you're not gonna be the same person you were at 8 that you are at 18. Same thing, 18 to 28. You know what I'm saying? You gotta constantly grow. And so, you know, having kids, you gotta be emotionally available. Like now that I have a son, I really want him to be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Emotionally intelligent.
That, but it's a different for boys. You know what I'm saying? Like it's specifically for boys. I mean, yeah, no, I'm saying like it's a specific word for boys. I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Masculinity? No.
No.
My bad. My bad.
I'm just put it this way. I want them to be balanced. You know what I'm saying? I want them to have a good balance, be emotionally available, be able to be
Emotionally balanced.
Yeah, well, you can call it that. I don't like the word emotion, but like
I got you.
after this conversation, I hate the word. But like, I want them to be balanced. You know what I'm saying? I want my girls to be balanced. I don't want them to be. I think that's where where mom and dad come in. So you know what I'm saying? Like my wife teach them the emotion, and I kind of balance it out. You know what I'm saying? And so I teach my son how a man is supposed to be emotional. Like you be there, you show the emotional intelligence, give hugs. You know, notice different things about your sisters and your mom, you know what I'm saying? And being a gentleman and all those different things. I think there's different components. And so I think as a man before, you know, we would just make the money, bring home the bacon, you know what I'm saying? And your wife cook, you know what I'm saying? And so things are evolving. Women have evolved and men have them evolve as well. And so in order for the relationship to work, you definitely have to be emotionally available. and you got to be that way for everybody in your household. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be my kids or my wife. It could be, you know, my nieces that come and stay with us, you know what I'm saying? Or my nephew, you know what I'm saying? Like emotionally available doesn't necessarily have to be just in your home. It just can be period, who you are. But I don't know, man. I just
said it's a very broad.
It
encompasses a lot.
But I think it's just got a negative connotation about what it really is, because you always hear it being associated with men don't cry enough. You know what I'm saying? And
that's why the breakup or whatever.
Yeah,
like he wasn't there for me.
Right.
Thing. So yeah, that's. I mean, we see that all the time when it comes to words and how people use them and whatever. So.
It is how people use them and market them, because you know how many books are out on emotionally available.
Okay,
you know.
For another, what if I said PTSD?
Yeah, I know what that is.
Right, what is it?
You know, like when they have stress and it continues to trigger, right?
I mean, but what is it normally associated with?
Oh,
Trauma.
No, he's saying like with like people from the army, from war and stuff like that. But it's not necessarily that.
Exactly.
It can be from any kind of trauma.
When people usually hear PTSD, they think military.
Yeah.
They think that he's going crazy because he's hearing rockets and grenades and all of this stuff. But that's not necessarily what it is. We was talking about a certain occupation or whatever earlier today, right? Out there. I bet they got PTSD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can get PTSD from anything.
I can have it from this conversation trying to explain what emotion is versus emotional availability. And every time I hear the word, I jump and hide under the couch. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So, yeah, but I'm just saying, so like we hear, and you said it perfectly, how they market the word. And that's usually what happens. Somebody comes in and they market a word.
And so that's how it gets defined.
Exactly.
Right.
So or it gets a new definition. They actually go into the dictionary and start changing stuff.
Right.
You know?
Wikipedia.
So because I mean, I think the marketing side.
No, the real dictionary.
I know.
Because I think the marketing side to the men is more so of how to be more emotionally available, and then to the women, it's like how to detect the emotional availability in your man or something like that. So like they market it even when it comes down to the genders. It's just like, okay, men, be more emotionally available. Right. Women, see how emotionally available he is, or something like that. So, I mean, it's they're playing on our desire to have our needs met.
Yep.
But exactly, I just think it's just
is.
needs, and you should be able. I think the focus should be more so on being able to communicate what someone needs, and the focus should be on people knowing who they are and being able to do the communication, because no matter, I can give you all the love you know what I'm saying, that I have inside of me. But if I don't know specifically what you need, I'm just really, you know,
exactly
shooting blind, you know what I'm saying? And so the focus shouldn't be on labeling what one half is. It should be focusing on, do this person know who they are to be able to communicate, one, what they need, and then two, for someone to be able to receive it and say, and reflect and say, like, okay,
having that intelligence,
have that emotional intelligence to say, okay, this is what they need. If I want this to work and I love them this much, I am going to do this because that's what makes them happy. That's like selflessness. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm living selflessly, you know what I'm saying, I will take away from somebody. But if I'm living unselfishly, you know what I'm saying, I will be doing the things that they need. You know what I'm saying? And so and that's why I kept saying, like, well, that's like the 5 love languages, because that's pretty much what the 5 love languages is saying. Like, yes, it's okay for you to receive love the way you want to receive love, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the way if your spouse does not receive love that way, that you should give her what you get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you gotta really be able to have the emotional intelligence to detect exactly what that person needs. But it's that person's responsibility to communicate what they need.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not for you to figure out. It's not like you say, I'm not a mind reader. You gotta literally be able to tell that other person, babe, this is what I need. I need this, this, and this. Not, oh, here you go again. And you never communicate specifically what it is that you need. Right. You giving innuendos, you giving
playing games.
You playing games. But you know, and it happens often. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I wonder, this is what I was saying, like I wonder whoever created this was unable to communicate what they need. They knew what they wanted, but was not able to communicate it.
Right.
And so by them not being able to communicate, they cut the relationship off and say, you just emotionally unavailable. Okay, granted, I might be emotional unavailable. However, you have communication issues. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Well, look, that's it. That's the way we'll round it out. So for those of y'all are listening, those of y'all watching, are you emotionally unavailable? Are you available? Do you know where it came from? Please tell us, because we don't know. We want to know. But you hit the nail on the head, and the idea is it comes down to communication. None of us are mind readers, and we want to be in a relationship with you. We want you to be in a relationship with us. And in order for that to happen, we got to talk about how we're going to make it happen. So that's what it boils down to.
Oh, we need to talk about next time, like mixed signals.
Oh my God.
You say,
oh man,
that'd be dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, wow. We can throw that in.
Yeah.
But listen, Mel, go ahead and give them your social media.
Mel Never Settles. That's pretty much everything. Instagram and Facebook. That's my social media.
Matt Kingsley.
I've never done that before. Wow.
I've
never given my handle out. So Kingsley133 on Instagram and Kingsley Kings Laurent on Facebook. KINGSLEY. Laurent LAURENT.
You want to do your music?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen to my music on all the streaming platforms. Yeah, man. Your support and your love and would be greatly appreciated.
Facts.
I'm gonna work on that one then. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that invite to the music for the next shot, because that caught me by surprise. I'm like, I can do that.
Yo, man, listen,
it's you. That's who you are, right?
Yeah, it's streaming platform. My full name, Kingsley Kings Laurent.
You don't want to spell it for him, just in case.
KINGSLEY Kings.
I'll put it on this.
Okay. On all the major streaming platforms.
Wow. You sound like you on the radio. I got through. Listen, Mama on the radio.
Because that caught me by surprise. Shit. I was like, I can do that. So I appreciate that.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right, yo. So check it. All my handles are OMEHGA Official, OMEHGA Official. Every platform that's out there that I'm using, which I don't even know what they are anymore. I think it's Instagram, Facebook, and
Everything else under the
I
sun.
think that's it. Yeah. So, but listen, everybody that's sitting to my left, that's Mel and Kingsley, the new members to the team, new members of the family. I appreciate you gentlemen being here. It's only been 2 conversations going in, but my God, I can't wait to see what else is going is going to happen, because goodness gracious, we could have had 3 shows today for everything that we talked about.
Right.
That is definitely,
especially
for sure.
that first 3 hours we were
Oh my God, definitely could have.
Just gotta hit that red button and keep it going.
Yeah, we'll do that. So, but like I said, to my immediate left, we've got Mel Never Settles, and of course my man Kingsley.
What's going on?
I am Omega, and this is Diverse Clarity. This is where we have those thought-provoking conversations about things that matter and some that don't. We'll catch you next episode.
Peace.